What are your health issues? We all know our health is our wealth. Whatever your health issues are, and we all have them, especially as we begin to age. Coming up today on Living by Design, we have an amazing individual by the name of Dr. Peter Swanz, and he is going to be able to give you some information that you absolutely don't want to miss. Coming up on Living by Design.
Imagine walking away from a 28-year executive management career in corporate America to pursue your passion of empowering the world, giving them the tools they need to live their dreams. The Living by Design show with Kathy Holloway Hill. Impactful, informative, empowering. Take a look at a few of the guests that have been on the show. It's your time to be living by design.
Hi, I'm Kathy Holloway Hill, and welcome to Living by Design. I am so excited to be here in Louisville, Kentucky today at the Vital Force Naturopathy with my good friend Dr. Peter Swanz, and he is an amazing naturopath. And Dr. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I am absolutely thrilled that you're going to be able to give so much vital information, no pun intended, vital force.
Right.
But so much vital information to our viewers about some of the things that they may not be aware of. So let's just kick it off, and you tell our viewers, what do you do and what is naturopathy and homeopathic?
Right. So I am a naturopathic physician. I attended a 4-year medical school. My training is as a primary care doctor. Now, unfortunately, we do not yet license naturopaths in Kentucky or Indiana. So I'm not able to function as the primary care doctor for my patients, but I tell patients, I'm like, ultimately you are your own doctor.
Amen.
I want to be part of the team. I want to help support you on the journey. And really, I feel very fortunate and blessed to just get to watch people that want to transform their health. They're done with the symptom management approach to disease care, and they actually want to be well. They want to have, be healthy. They want to be happy and have vital energy and feel well.
Exactly.
And we can get there, and it's not because of any magic that I'm doing. I'm just, I think, really a facilitator, hopefully an inspiration, and get to provide information, but the people are transforming their lives, and that's what's so beautiful.
And I absolutely love that, because that's how I met you. I came to you as a patient,
right,
and I have my own amazing testimony, but I won't go there because you're going to be hearing from someone else who has an even better testimony. But you are a magnificent doctor, and you have a great bedside manner. You just love your patients. And I guess you treat your patients as you would want to be treated, because when people come to you and they're sick, nobody wants to be sick.
Right.
So that's a difficult place to be in. So talk a little bit about the difference in alternative medicine versus traditional Western medicine. What's the difference?
Well, I think, the traditional Western medicine, it's very algorithmic, meaning that patients come in, they see their doctor, the doctor runs some tests, does some exam work, they're looking for a diagnosis. Once they find the diagnosis, there's a standard of care treatment protocol. It may be this pharmaceutical drug. If that drug doesn't work, well, let's try the next one, or it's a surgical approach, or we'll do some rehab first. But it's not individualized. We're looking for the diagnosis, and then here's our treatment plan. People now realize there are alternative treatment plans, right? We don't have to necessarily go the pharmaceutical or surgical intervention route first thing. So for me, what I'm trying to help patients understand is there are alternatives. Different, herbal medicines, physical medicine like chiropractic or osteopathic manipulation, Chinese medicine and acupuncture, Western botanical herbs, supplements. There's a lot of different modalities that we can use outside of the standard of care. What I want patients to understand is it's not necessarily what we use, but why we use it. If somebody came to see me, for example, and the doctor wanted to put them on Prozac because they were dealing with some mild or moderate depression, I don't simply want to replace the Prozac with St. John's wort, B vitamins, and fish oil. That might be effective, but in my mind, that's not truly holistic medicine because I'm simply replacing a pharmaceutical drug with some nutritional supplements and a botanical drug. I want to work with the patient and find out what's the underlying issue.
Absolutely.
Right? Why do we need it?
I was hoping you would say that because for me, I love the fact that naturopathic homeopathy, it deals with the entire person, not just that symptom. Because we know depression, if you're going to use that as an example, can come from a ton of different
Absolutely.
things. It could be a side effect or a byproduct from adrenal issues, which we'll talk about later in the show. So it's very important not to just look at one symptom, right?
Right, absolutely. And it's limited. You know, when we're just treating the symptom, we only get better to a point and it stops. People don't feel truly vital. They're not recovering their energy. I think with the approach that I get to take with patients is they're really recovering health in a manner that's lasting, and they're not dependent on the pharmaceutical meds, and hopefully not dependent on some supplemental product either. I don't want patients, again, dependent on the St. John's wort long term, and I'm not anti the pharmaceutical approach.
Absolutely.
I think there's a time and
Yes.
place for that,
That's
but
correct.
people just need to know there's other options out there.
That's right. And we also want people, because I talk to people all the time, Dr. Peter, and they will tell me, well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that or I'm taking this drug or that drug because my doctor told me to. We have to be responsible for our health. It's our health. It belongs to us. I mean, actually, I believe health is your wealth.
Yes.
So if we don't take care of our own health and we can't put it in the doctor's hands.
Right.
So it's our responsibility to investigate all the different alternatives, all the different possibilities of getting yourself to a place of being healthy.
Absolutely. And I tell patients, I think our health is really our greatest asset.
It is.
Because without it, we can't appreciate the life that we're creating for ourselves.
Right.
It's how we interact, through this physical body. And a holistic approach to health, it's not just the physical, it's also the mental, emotional, and the spiritual.
That's right.
And I think the conventional model is very stuck in just the physical aspect. So to me, that's a third of our potential.
Right.
We really want to try to pull everything together.
So when someone comes to you and they have a particular ailment, let's say they come to you, when I came to you years ago, I had a specific issue. But you gave me a thorough assessment,
Right.
questioned me, and you got to the root of me. What's going on with the whole me, not just that one specific thing. And then the treatment consisted of the whole me, because when you treat the entire person, then that in turn kind of takes care of whatever the issue was.
Right, absolutely. I like to spend between 2 and 3 hours in a new patient intake
Right.
because I definitely want to talk about the main issues.
Right.
The same thing that you might be going to your primary care or endocrinologist or specialist for. I want to know about that, but I want to know about diet and lifestyle,
Yes.
nutritional stuff. I want to know about poops and
Yes.
sleep and emotional health.
And when he said
hormonal
poop,
stuff.
he meant the real poop.
Yeah, that's right. We want to talk about it all because, again, that paints a more comprehensive picture
Right.
of the health. A lot of the stuff that we start with is very basic.
Right.
It's the diet and lifestyle stuff. For sure, we know we need to exercise more, and people know they should be eating more vegetables and fruits. So encouraging people to start making those choices. The dietary piece, I don't want patients to think that it's all about diet and nutrition. That's one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And yet, when the other thing I think is really important is I don't have a one-size-fits-all diet.
Exactly.
I want to help individuals figure out what works best for them from a nutritional standpoint.
And that's perfect. I love everything you're saying. We're in the midst of a Healthy by Design segment, and I'm so thrilled that we have Dr. Peter giving such magnificent information. We have so much more coming up. You're going to hear an amazing testimony, but we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back on Living by Design.
Coming up on Living by Design.
So, did you have your thyroid removed, obviously?
I had my thyroid removed. It was cancerous, and so I had to go through treatments for that. Because of that, I gained a lot of weight.
Dr. Peter Swanz is Kentuckiana's premier naturopathic physician. Dr. Swanz supports individuals on their journey to health through his Vital Force practice in Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Swanz integrates the best aspects of conventional and alternative medicine to create custom and holistic treatment plans for patients of all ages. Dr. Swanz is an expert in classical homeopathy, nutrition, and family medicine. Visit Dr. Swanz online at www.drswanz.com or phone the office at 812-716-4325. Focus, Inspiration, Transformation. Fit with Renee. At Fit with Renee, she helps you get focused on your goals, inspires you to live a healthy life, and be transformed into the person that you know you can be. For more information, visit the website at fitwithrenee.com. Focus, Inspiration, Transformation. Fit with Renee.
Hi, we're back now with Gail, and I am so excited for Gail to share with our viewers your amazing story. Now, you're a patient of Dr. Peters, right?
I am.
Awesome, and I'm so excited that you're here with us today.
Well, thank you.
To share your journey, because we all have a journey, and sometimes that journey is not pleasant.
It usually has a lot of bumps along the way, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it has a lot of bumps along the way, and you know, I was talking to you off camera, and I know yours has a lot of bumps too.
I have had a lot of bumps, but you know, my story starts about 18 years ago when I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And I really hadn't owned my health. I hadn't really understood the value of the whole health picture. And so that's really when I started to educate myself, take ownership for what was happening.
Good.
And but those bumps along the way kind of sidetracked me, and I took care of everybody else in my life but didn't take care of me.
Common problem.
Yep. And so I became a single mother and really didn't have time for me. But then realized that if I didn't take care of me, bigger issues were going to happen and my children were going to have nobody. So I really was intentional. I heard Dr. Swanz speak and thought, wow, this is the guy I need, because traditional medicine has its place, but I really like, I'm not a chemical drug person if I don't have to be. So
and that's your choice.
It is my choice. Yeah. It is, and it's for everybody. But this is one of the things I liked about Dr. Swanz, is that when I sat down and talked with him, he spent a lot of time with me. It wasn't just a in, out, here's your history, okay, let's move on. We were together a couple hours, and I felt like he cared about me. Yes. And that was really critical. And so I got comfortable giving him information, understanding what he was giving back to me, and I wanted a whole body fix. You know, you can have a symptom, and symptoms will bring you to somebody asking for help, but if you don't fix the whole piece, you've just put a Band-Aid on it.
Exactly, that is so true. So did you have your thyroid removed, obviously?
I had my thyroid removed. It was cancerous, and so I had to go through treatments for that. Because of that, I gained a lot of weight, and of course, a lot of weight is going to create health issues on its own.
Right.
Not having time to do anything about exercise, eating right, really complicated my situation. So I became very intentional.
Okay.
I was intentional about getting the weight off. I was intentional about learning about nutrition. I was intentional about understanding my body, my responses, and my needs. And Dr. Swanz really helped me walk through that, through the hows, the whys. I mean, at one time I got a cold and he fussed at me. Well, why didn't you call me? I'm like, I forget that you can reach out and ask for help instead of just walking through these things on your own.
And that's another good thing I love about Dr. Peter, is because he's always available.
Always, I have
like
to
he's
tell you.
always around for, how can he always be there for all his patients, but he finds a way. He's amazing.
I actually reached out on 4th of July 2 years ago via email. Oh my gosh, this is what's happening. I need help. Never dreaming that 2 hours later I'd have an email back with my, here's what you need, and call me tomorrow. And I was just so grateful, because when you're having an issue, you really want to jump on it and address it. But, traditional medicine, you can call the office Monday through Friday. And so...
or speak to the doctor on call.
Yeah, well, that too. So I have worked hard to take care of all of me, not just pieces of me. And it's a journey. It's a journey of recognizing where you've been, why you were there, how you've come through it, and owning what needs to be changed.
And I have to ask you, Gail, because I know there are a lot of traditional, and I am not against pharmaceutical drugs. Some people need them. but there are a lot of side effects with pharmaceutical drugs. Did you experience any side effects from the treatments that Dr. Peter recommended?
No. I've had no side effects, no concerns about can I do this, can I have that. I mean, it's all natural. I kind of define it as healthy. It's a healthy fix to my issue instead of a chemical fix, instead of and many times an unnatural fix. I mean, a lot of the supplements and things you can take today don't even go into your body and do what they are supposed to do 100%. You get pieces of it.
And that's one of the things I want to bring up when we talk to Dr. Peter, because he's going to be coming back, so don't go away. He's going to be coming back, and I want to talk to him about, because the industry is unregulated, and there are a lot of things out there that could be junk.
And there's a lot of confusion, a lot of people coming at you a lot of different ways. And in my opinion, it's everybody's job to research, to find out for themselves what works. And
don't use the internet for your research.
No, never.
Use a bona fide professional.
I talked to a lot of people, and there were times when Dr. Swanz would give me a remedy, and he would say, "What's your questions?" And sometimes I would have to say, well, I don't have any yet, because I would go kind of do my own research, figure out the questions I wanted to ask. Sometimes I would say to him, I'm not going to know enough to ask, so you tell me, what does this do? How does this do? Why are we doing this? It's a give and take, but it's information gathering. And I just think people need to gather information no matter what they're putting in their body to make sure that it's good for them. And then block out the family, the friends, the well-intentioned people who want to say, that's not how you should do it.
And if you feel like, whether it's traditional medicine, traditional Western medicine, homeopathy, or naturopathic medicine, whatever it is, if you feel like your doctor is not giving you adequate time, or he's not listening, or he is rushed, find another doctor.
Exactly. Everybody is good for somebody, but everybody is not good for me.
Exactly. So, I feel the same way.
And it's okay to say, this isn't the right place for me. Hopefully we're doing it in relationships. Why are we not willing to do it with the people who care for us, who help us through our life journey? It's really kind of funny to me that we will invest in so many other areas of our lives, but we will not take that time to invest in ourselves.
That's right. And I think your journey is absolutely amazing. So you've been cancer-free for how long?
18 years.
Wow.
18 years. And very excited, very relieved. I've had other health issues develop along the way that haven't been huge, but having had that cancer experience taught me to educate, take control, get on it. So that has really been a gift in my life, I think.
Well, you certainly have. You have been given an amazing gift, the gift of health.
Yes.
And I just think it's so wonderful that you found Dr. Peter. I know, he helped me so much. And I know he's helping tons of other people as we speak, and he's going to be helping even more people when they see this show. So
I hope so, because he is a loving, caring person, an educated, awesome doctor, and just a good friend.
Well, Gail, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your testimonial. We just really appreciate it, and we know God's going to continue to bless you in everything that you do.
Thank you very much.
We're going to be right back with more of Dr. Peter Swanz. Don't go anywhere. Living by Design.
Coming up on Living by Design.
Go to the OBGYN just to get the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And then they might have an endocrinologist that's helping with their thyroid. Well, we really want to pull this together. These doctors should all be communicating, because these systems don't work in isolation.
Dr. Peter Swanz is Kentuckiana's premier naturopathic physician. Dr. Swanz supports individuals on their journey to health through his Vital Force practice in Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Swanz integrates the best aspects of conventional and alternative medicine to create custom and holistic treatment plans for patients of all ages. Dr. Swanz is an expert in classical homeopathy, nutrition, and family medicine. Visit Dr. Swanz online at www.drswanz.com or phone the office at 812-716-4325. Focus, inspiration, transformation. Fit with Renee. At At Fit with Renee, she helps you get focused on your goals, inspires you to live a healthy life, and be transformed into the person that you know you can be. For more information, visit the website at fitwithrenee.com. Focus, inspiration, transformation. Fit with Renee.
Welcome back, and we're now here again with Dr. Peter Swanz. And Dr. Peter, that was an amazing testimonial by Gail. My goodness.
She's incredible. She's certainly one of my favorite patients, and somebody who's really owned her own health, taken control of her life in so many ways, and it's fantastic. I feel, again, fortunate just to get to be part of her life.
Yes, the journey was amazing. So let's talk a little bit about a topic that I don't think very many people are aware of, and that's hormonal issues, changes. Everyone has heard the word menopause. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that females go through this process where their hormones start to change. Right. But I don't think too many people are familiar with a term called andropause.
Right.
And talk a little bit about that. What is it, and how can men help themselves?
Right, absolutely. Andropause is the male counterpart to menopause.
Right.
And it's natural as we're aging that our hormone production is going to decrease for both men and women. Mm-hmm. And it's not a sickness. It's not a disease. It's not necessarily something we need to medicate. Now, I'm not anti-pharmaceutical. My training includes pharmaceutical medications. Mm-hmm. I'm not anti-hormonal supplementation.
Yes.
But I think it's an issue where one size doesn't fit all.
Correct.
We really want to look at doing custom supports for individuals. The goal is not to, take a 45-year-old woman or a 45-year-old man and give them the hormone levels of an 18-year-old.
Correct.
But if we can help somebody get comfortably back in the normal metabolic ranges, the overall quality of life and health long-term will improve. And that's very valuable.
Now, I want to ask you, because I know there are a lot of females out there, because for whatever reason, I don't mean to generalize, but men are very reluctant to even investigate, why am I feeling this way? Why do I not have the erections that I used to have,
Sure.
which is the number one thing. Talk a little bit about some of the symptoms that men will experience when they're going through andropause.
Well, right, and obviously the in the bedroom kind of performance
Right.
stuff seems like the obvious thing, but a lot of times that may be working well enough, but we're still on the bottom end or outside of the hormone ranges, and so it can be things like fatigue, losing muscle mass, difficulty with sleep, and then energy during the day. Cardiovascular issues sometimes can be an issue with low testosterone. So because the heart is a muscle, so bringing the testosterone levels up into those normal ranges, it can be beneficial for long-term cardiovascular health. That's really important.
And the middle bulge,
For sure,
and male boobs. That's what I've read. That's what I'm asking you. Are those some of the
that can be a lot of times too? I think the adrenals are a missing component for both men and women. Right? These are our body's stress organs, and the adrenals produce a hormone called DHEA, which is a precursor for estrogen and testosterone in both men and women. So if we have adrenal fatigue, and then we're heading into this phase of our lives where the natural hormone production is starting to go down, the adrenals should be picking up some of that slack. But if we've got the adrenal fatigue, now we're going to have that much more, it's going to be a more difficult menopause or andropause for either one. So a lot of times what I'm working with patients, I'm telling them, we don't necessarily need to be aggressive with the sex hormone stuff.
Right.
If we can bring the adrenals back. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help you, it's going to help thyroid production, it's going to help with blood sugar balance. The endocrine system, it's really very interrelated. Mm-hmm. And when we work to pull all the pieces together in a holistic manner, patients get better, versus going to, a female doc might go to the OB-GYN just to get the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And then they might have an endocrinologist that's helping with their thyroid. Well, we really want to pull this together. These doctors should all be communicating because these systems don't work in isolation.
And it's very important that you do get a professional like yourself involved, because one thing I really want to get across today to our viewers is please don't go to the internet and try to self-medicate, because you don't know what you're going to find on the internet. As a matter of fact, there are so many, because the alternative industry, the alternative medicine industry and herbal industry is unregulated.
Right.
There are so many scammers out there that will tell you it'll do this, it'll fix that, but it won't. So.
Right. There's a lot of low quality products. Companies aren't necessarily testing for toxicity and contaminants.
Right.
The products that I generally recommend to patients are all from companies that are doing the highest level of standards, on par with on par with pharmaceutical, quality. Because when I recommend something to patients, I want to get the same effect. If the medicine isn't working, I don't want to wonder if it was because it was an inferior product. I want to know, we need to do something different. There's something else. The other thing that I think is really important is we have to be careful with what friends and family have done and experienced. Just because something worked really well for someone else, they may, we get excited. We become a walking testimonial for the things that move us, and so we don't want to necessarily think that just because it was perfect for me, it's going to be perfect for everybody else out there, and I think that happens. It's good to open the door, though. If we get people thinking about these other approaches, I think that's good.
That's a very good point, because, we started out talking about the adrenals, because it kind of explained to our viewers what are adrenal glands for, because I know that the stress hormone cortisol, I know that's a big thing, so maybe talk a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, and what's unique, I think, about the adrenals is we can have really low or deficient adrenal function and not qualify or even really get the attention of the conventional docs. If it was your thyroid, you'd absolutely be on thyroid medication. Or if your pancreas was performing as poorly as people's adrenals often are.
And these are adrenal organs.
Yeah, these are adrenal glands. They're little glands. They sit right on top of the kidneys, and they control our fight or flight response. They're also important for blood pressure and blood sugar regulation. But the adrenals, they produce the norepinephrine and epinephrine. So that's our fight or flight response. And then they produce cortisol. And the cortisol is a natural anti-inflammatory, right? People have taken, prednisone is a steroid similar to cortisol that people take to lower inflammation. Not a bad thing. We need to use this sometimes. We don't want to overuse it. What happens, though, with our own body, the fight or flight response in our adrenals, it's a non-adaptive response, this epinephrine and norepinephrine. So when we experience stress in our life, we're always going to start pushing out the norepinephrine and the epinephrine. That's our fight or flight response. If a bear runs around the corner, I want to be able to run away every single time.
Exactly.
This cortisol response that lowers the inflammation, helps to kind of clean up after that fight or flight response, it becomes adaptive. So because we live in such a stressful environment, we've got stress with traffic and work and relationships and kids and the news, these things affect us, they impact us, but our body starts to get exhausted from that, and it starts to get acclimated. So a lot of times we'll quiet down that cortisol response, but we'll still be having that fight or flight response. And this is where I think so much anxiety is coming from today.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Dr. Peter, you have just absolutely been amazing, which I knew you would be, because you are just so knowledgeable, and there's so much more we could talk about, but we want to make sure that we get your information. So if you could just give your website, we're going to put it up on the screen for you. Please contact Dr. Peter if you want to have a consultation.
Sure. My website is drswanz.com, www.drswanz.com.
Awesome. Please contact Dr. Peter. He is the one that really can get you back on track. We appreciate you joining us for this episode of Living by Design. We'll be back next week with another empowering episode.